Looking forward to it. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our third budget meeting. Just going to call us back from recess. I am referring to the Monday, November 28th agenda, and we will be starting at number 5. We were able to finish off 1 to 4 previously last week. We will work on.
It's not even 9:30. I'd appreciate if you start that.
My clock says 9:30, Councillor Smith.
Pardon me?
My clock says 9:30.
Mine does now too, but I just walked in 9:29 and walked in through. So I at least deserve respect that you can wait till 9:30. I'm sorry I'm late. It's challenging sometimes in the morning. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what we're going to do this morning is we had a number of questions that were posed last week. We'll get some responses for those questions and any discussions. Then we'll go into the review of the adjustment summary. There were a couple of items, and then we're going to move in camera for a short piece and then move on to number 6 to 10 in our agenda. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Klamosko. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So at our last budget meeting last week, there were some questions posed on some of the projects. So I have some answers for council this morning. So there was a question around the project for the Nisku West pump stations, and if we were going to apply for other grants other than MSI for that project. So we have reached out to the Alberta Municipal Water Wastewater Partnership grant providers and have arranged to apply for that grant for that initiative. So I wanted to provide that update.
Okay, thank you.
Also on the urban servicing project, there was a few questions, so I'll go through those. One of them was, can we defer any of these pieces of equipment? So within that project profile document, there's 3 pieces of equipment. So administration's answer to that question. So for the truck and the utility unit, we are suggesting no, that we should not defer. The one for the snow blower, the suggestion is maybe this could be deferred for 1 year only. However, right now, when you place an order to delivery is 6 months. So if we defer the purchase of that snow blower, we would not have it available for us until the winter maintenance program of 2024-2025, just because of the timing.
Thank you.
So then the next question we have, when are we going to get the new gravel truck? So, and then is there an opportunity to also repurpose an old one to support this service? So then we have my apologies. So the new truck is ordered and being built. Delivery is anticipated in Q1 of 2023. Then we have a plow truck. Can we repurpose one of our plow trucks? So unit 1650 would be the only truck that we would be able to repurpose at this point, but this truck is being replaced. And then there's also concerns around the reliability of that truck. So those were the questions around urban servicing. Are there any other questions related to that one?
Follow-up questions from those responses? Okay, thank you very much for those.
And then there was one final question about our process when we are disposing of equipment or our fleet vehicles. Is there a process in place for us to notify our small urban municipalities? So currently there is no process to notify our small urban municipalities within Leduc County. When we make the decision to replace vehicles, that is based on our asset management practices, where we're looking at our condition assessment, and many of the vehicles or fleet or equipment that we're replacing really have been deemed to be in poor condition. So we do have concerns about we don't want to be viewed as recommending a piece of equipment to a small urban partner that then there may be some reliability issues. For example, with a grader, some of the major component failures are very costly. So that is just a concern with notification that it not be misconstrued as a recommendation that this is perhaps a piece of equipment that we can speak to its reliability, just because we don't have that certainty.
So Ms. Klamosko, so then when we dispose of them through auction, is that correct?
That is correct.
Is it possible to, again, then it becomes fair market, fair whatever, for letting, again, you know, the smaller municipalities know when we're taking to or when we're sending to auction? Because I assume we would send them in a batch. We're not sending one at a time.
Yeah, so I do believe that we could create a process.
Thank you.
To provide the small urban municipalities with notification that we are sending pieces of equipment.
That's I would appreciate that if it's not too much work. Again, it's a question I've gotten a number of times. And if you look at some place like Kalmar and the amount of work they would do with a grader versus us, you know, an older grader would probably suit them better than it does for us when we're doing whatever it is, 1,700 kilometers. So thank you for that and look forward to that discussion later.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is number 5. So we have the review of adjustment summary from the 2022 final budget to 2023 interim. So the process that we go through as we have budget deliberations with council is council will ask administration to flag or to put specific projects on an adjustment summary for further discussion when we get further along in the budget process. So there are a couple of projects that were put on the list for discussion today. So we have the one project, so it's Lucas Estates. There was a storm sewer drainage improvement project. This is a project that is funded by reserve. And so it is on the floor for council discussion about its inclusion in the budget today.
Okay, thank you. And if I'm correct, and I will turn to maybe Mr. Coleman would know, I believe the manager of engineering said that because of some changes, this could sit, it doesn't have to be done in 2023. It could be something that is deferred for a bit.
That's correct, Madam Chair. There's a belief that the subdivision that's being built to the south with the new system there will take some of that water out of the subdivision.
So again, council, any other questions on removing the Lucas Estate drainage swale issue? Go ahead, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you. If this was removed from the budget this year and put on for the following year, because it's funded through reserve, is there an impact to the tax increase?
As it is a reserve funded for 2023 interim budget, there would be no impact to a reduction. So as noted on the adjustment summary, you'll see if that is removed from the budget, it does not impact where we are at in terms of a tax increase proposed for 2023 interim.
Thank you. Council, what's our druthers on that? Do we want to remove it, defer it for a year, which we heard wouldn't create issue from our head of engineering? Great question by Councillor Lewis. It won't impact our tax rate. So I'll go Councillor Lewis, Councillor Balazar.
Thank you. I would be supportive of removing it for this year and putting it on to the following year and seeing what happens with the development that's going on.
Councillor Balazar.
I'm the same.
Yeah, I would say remove it also, even though it's not going to impact our budget as such with a number, it still impacts our reserves. So yeah, I would say remove it till next year.
Councillor Smith.
Remove.
Okay, Councillor Balazar.
Yeah, there's no real point in spending a bunch of money on this if a project beside it is going to take care of the problems. So.
And Councillor, yep, Councillor. Okay, so we can remove that. Thank you very much.
The next project on the adjustment summary is the signage implementation project. So again, this is a project that is funded by reserves as well. And so there was some questions and comments about putting this on the adjustment summary last week. So I put it up to council for a discussion.
So just if you could clarify for me, Ms. Klamosko, council discussed about putting the signage for on Highway 2 as well as in Nisku. Is this removing all the signage or including those?
Currently, this was put on this adjustment summary in its entirety, so it's
Okay.
the entire project is noted on the adjustment summary.
So I'm just going to start. I think I heard from council a desire to ensure that we are putting the signage at Nisku Park, Highway 2, and those main entrances. Is that what I recall? What would be the cost of that taken out of that full amount?
So actually, the focus of the signage for 2023 is exactly
Okay.
that. So we have the primary gateway signs, so we have on Highway 2. So, and just in the project profile document, that speaks to high visibility location with daily traffic volume of approximately 81,000 vehicles. And then we also have the Nisku Business Park entryway signs. And so key locations in the Nisku Business Park to really build that strong brand presence. So then there was 4 signs in the Nisku Business Park. So that was the focus of this project.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Councillor Lewis?
Thank you. I would like to see this stay in our budget. We've been working on our branding for quite a number of years, and this is the next step to get our branding aligned with all our documents and our business cards and everything. And because it's funded from reserves, it doesn't impact the tax rate.
Thank you. Councillor Blaser?
Yeah, I'm the same as Councillor Lewis. I would say leave them there because it's very important that people see who we are and where we are. And to me, that they have to stay.
Thank you. Councillor Smith?
Keep the money in for the basic package to start.
Thank you. Councillor Scobie?
Yeah, being as it's not gonna affect we're gonna be at our 3% anyhow. If we were gonna gain a couple points on that, I would probably look at wanting to leave it for a while, but it's not gonna affect our impact on the tax dollars, so.
Thank you. Councillor.
Yeah, keep it in.
All right. And I agree with those comments. I mean, we're working really hard to make ourselves investment ready. Having good signage, having professional signage makes a difference. So I support keeping it in as well.
Thank you. So moving on to an item we don't have noted on the agenda itself, but would like to move in camera in accordance with sections 23, 24, and 27 to have a brief discussion with council around some of the in-camera budget impacts that we have discussed earlier in the budget deliberation process.
Okay, thank you. I need someone to move in camera. Councillor Blaser will move us in camera. All in favor? That is unanimous. And thank you very much for joining us back. Just to let you know that we're in camera, the only motion made in camera was to come out of in camera, and that was made by Councillor Wanchuk. So we will proceed with number 6 of the Monday, November 28th budget agenda. So Renee, Ms. Klamosko, tab 9.
Yes. So if we go to tab 9, we have the fees and charges bylaw excluding utilities. Changes within the fees and charges bylaw were highlighted in red. And we did go through this document with every department as they did their budget presentation. The department head spoke to the changes to fees and charges that related to services and goods and services provided by their department.
Any further questions? If council has reviewed anything either on fees and charges or utility charges, and they still have a lingering question, opportunity for that response now. But you're right, Ms. Klamosko, we did with every department have an opportunity to ask questions on fees and charges. I am seeing no hands, Ms. Klamosko.
So if we could have motions to actually do the required readings for the fees and charges bylaw.
Okay, and so
The recommendation would be to do first, second, and third reading to approve the fees and charges
Okay.
for 2023.
If there's no questions, I'm looking for someone to move first reading on fees and charges for 2023. Counselor Balazer, thank you very much. Questions, comments, debate? I'm seeing none. All in favor? Unanimous. Second reading. Counselor Scobie, thank you very much. Comments, questions, debate? All in favor? Third reading on the same day. Counselor Wanchuk, thank you. All in favor? And third reading. Counselor Lewis, thank you very much. All in favor? That is done. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving to the next item, number 7, behind the blue sheet in council's binder, we have the utility rate bylaw. So again, looking for first, second, and third reading for the utilities, fees, and charges for 2023.
Okay. First reading, Counselor Lewis, thank you. And again, had an opportunity to discuss that with Mr. Meriglod. All in favor? Unanimous. Second reading, I'll move second reading. Not seeing any hands for comments, questions, or debate. All in favor? Third reading in the same day. Counselor Scobie, thank you. All in favor? And third reading. Counselor Balazer. All in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. Ms. Klamosko?
So moving to the next item on the agenda is to approve the adjustment summary from 2022 final to 2023 interim. So we just have removed the signage implementation project. So the only adjustment being made in the budget through our budget deliberations is the removal of the Lucas Estates Storm Sewer Drainage Improvement Project. So we do have a recommendation that we can show council for approval of the adjustment summary.
Okay.
So we have a draft up on the screen for council for a motion for the approval of the adjustment summary.
Okay, so that's just approval of the adjustment summary, not approval of the budget. Looking for someone to move that. I will move that. I think it's fair. And the motion is that Leduc County Council approve the adjustment summary from 2022 final to 2023 interim with the following adjustments. Removal of Lucas Estates Stormwater Sewer Drainage Improvement Project 2023 MPs -011 in the amount of $247,000. And I'm fine doing that because we had a good discussion and heard that this might resolve itself with new construction to the south. And if not, we will manage it and bring it back. Okay. Any comments, questions, or debate on that motion? I am seeing none. All in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you.
So the next item on the agenda is number 9, approve multi-year projects by council resolution if required. In the 2023 interim budget, we do not have a multi-year project being considered, so this item is not required this year. So moving right into item number 10, we have interim budget approval. So again, we have
fees and
so we can
Okay.
remove that
Gotcha.
motion just because there are no multi-year motions required. And then we can move right to number 10, which is interim budget approval. So we have a draft motion on the screen for council that removes the Lucas Estates project from the expenditures. And so just one moment,
Absolutely.
yeah. We
And
just
Ms.
had a
Klam-
few
Right.
optional motions prepared in
Absolutely.
case
Ms.
of what
Kolosky,
council.
If approved, what percentage increased is this for taxes?
So the tax increase would be 3%. The budget increases more. However, we are incorporating assessment
Okay.
increase and assessment growth in our interim budget. So makes that tax increase 3%.
Perfect. Okay. And we're just ensuring that the numbers are correct with the change with the removal of the Lucas Estates.
So now we have the appropriate proposed motion on the screen for council to review.
So the motion up there reads that Leduc County Council approve the 2023 interim budget of $121,402,000, maybe I can't read numbers, $857, which includes an operating expenditures of $91,772,617 and capital fund expenditures of $29,630,240. Teaching grade 3 math has paid off finally. Looking for someone to move the Councillor Smith, you'll move that.
Yes, I'll move that.
Thank you. Councillor Smith moves the motion for the approval of the interim budget. Any comments, questions? Go ahead, Councillor Smith.
Just questions. Again, this was put up as an investment budget. I think we've gone through and done the majority of the items that were there. I guess pretty proud of this budget, actually. I'm wondering what the communication rollout will be, from cutting ribbons to putting up signs to really showing leadership in the area. I think with the fire hall build, that's something I think with the 510 is a commitment to the area. So would really like to see Leduc County get out in front and just show the region our leadership through safety, through development, and what it means to actually be shovel ready in projects. So just a question, how do we roll out this great news?
So the plan will be that we have a County Chronicle being distributed very shortly. So we're just finalizing the articles there. So we will have an article within the County Chronicle to highlight the budget that is approved. And then we also will do a media release. So that will be going out as well to do that media release related to the budget as well.
Okay.
You have a plan this week to do a ribbon cutting in the -35 for the airport?
Mr. Coleman.
I think Councillor Smith raises an excellent point. I think this is a very humble municipality and we are humble folks. That is who we are by nature. But I think there is relevance and importance to celebrating those events throughout 2023.
Yeah.
As stated by Councillor Smith, this really is an investment budget. It's an investment in our community, in our staff, in this municipality. And we will make every endeavor to celebrate those victories and successes, whether it's a roadside ribbon cutting or other event. I think those are important. We don't celebrate enough here. And this is council's victory, and those need to be celebrated. The stewardship of this municipality under this council has been phenomenal, and we need to recognize that and celebrate it at every opportunity we have. We thank council very much for your support of this budget and your honest and hard deliberations in keeping our administration accountable to you, who keeps it accountable to the citizens of this municipality. Thank you very much.
And just before I call the question, certainly on behalf of council, a thank you to administration for always taking the time that council needs to make the best decisions, for answering all our questions, for creating a process that is transparent, that is easy to follow, and allows our fingers to be all over the budget, even though certainly you guys have put the yeoman's amount of work into it. It is easy to go through. So with that, the motion is on the floor to approve the interim budget. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That is carried. So we have approved a 3% budget with the numbers that are up there. 3% tax increase. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
Is there anything right now that needs to remain confidential until released?
Yes, there are items that need to remain confidential.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Coleman, is that our deliberations? And I think we're done.
That is it, Madam Chair.
So for all of those who joined us well, if you joined us previously and you're not here today, you're not here. But certainly thank you for all of those who joined us again. Hearty thank you to our staff. I cannot say how proud I am of the work you do to put this budget together. I have an opportunity to talk to lots of other mayors and municipalities and truly believe people should be looking at our process to make theirs as streamlined and transparent as ours. So thank you. And with that, I am adjourning budget deliberations for the 2023 budget. Thank you at 10 o'clock.